Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Jamerson, coming to you from Ashley Lambert Realty. I am a licensed real estate agent here in North Carolina, and I have been licensed since 2006, and I have helped over 250 families buy, sell, and invest in real estate here in North Carolina. And I received a 1-star review this week from, I wouldn't call her a nightmare client, but it was just a client that I saw coming from a mile away. Like, my real estate agent intuition knew that this particular file was going to be an issue. So let me take you down her awesome 1-star review of me, and then I'm going to show you what really happened. And your disorganized girl has notes of everything that happened, everything that was sent, and I have receipts to show how I deserved this 1-star review. Now, before we get into the review, the whole purpose of leaving reviews on Zillow and any other site, cruises, hotels, excursions that you may take, is that you want to deter people from using that business, from buying that house, from working with that person, from hiring that person. And Ashley Lambert Realty is just me. It's just me. My husband is licensed. I've had a few agents work with me here and there, but Ashley Lambert Realty is me. That is my family name, where I came from. So I take it very much to heart when someone feels like I did them wrong, because I do try to provide the same service to everyone, no matter if you're buying $1 million house or a $70,000 investment property. You're going to get the same Ashley no matter what. So let me get into this review. She said she found me on social media, like many of you do on YouTube, and they were living in New York. When we moved to North Carolina, I told myself I would reach out to her because of her presentation and knowledge on her channel. I do have a lot of knowledge in real estate, licensed since 2006. Unfortunately, when I initially contacted her via email, she did not respond. So I had my sister, who is a realtor in Florida, reach out as well. My sister was able to contact us to connect us. During our first interaction, Ashley seemed okay. However, after only showing us one property, I began to notice that she didn't seem very interested in helping us and appeared to want to rush the process. After that initial showing, she seemed annoyed. Whenever I asked to see other properties, it became clear that we would need to find a property ourselves and just reach out to her to close the deal and represent us. Like, why didn't they just hire someone else to do that? But anyway, when we finally found a house, we thought it was overpriced and asked Ashley if she could negotiate a lower price. It felt like we were being taken advantage of, and simply because we had a decent amount of savings. And everyone seemed more focused on their interests, including her. Every time I reached out to Ashley with a question, she would take weeks to respond and seemed uninterested once the house was under contract. Ultimately, we decided to pull out of the contract because we felt we were overpaying and were unsure about the property. We lost $5,000 in earnest money, but we felt it was better than risking much more if we proceeded. Ironically, the same house went under contract for $21,000 less than what we were being offered. Ashley could not negotiate a lower price, and her attitude became defensive whenever we brought it up. She had previously shown us other houses and told us their prices wouldn't be lowered. Now, many of those same houses are either foreclosed or have dropped in price by $20,000 to $30,000. I would not recommend her at all. She was very disorganized and had a poor attitude. I felt like she only wanted to help if she liked the clients, and we certainly did not get the impression that we were a priority for her. So, let's break this down step by step, because people can say a lot of things about me, but being disorganized is not one of them. I literally attend planner conferences, like a whole bunch of girls together talking about their planners. I invest heavily in planners, and I do keep all of my planners. So I know when I show property and what they said about the property and how I felt that they felt about the property. So I keep very intensive notes. I don't want to pull it down, whatever. So She did reach out to me via email through my website. My website is search704.com. So she reached out to me, and it was a Sunday. Okay, my handwriting is terrible. I don't really work that much on Sundays. If you're a current client, I answer my phone. If you're a current client and there's no other day that week, I will perhaps show property on a Sunday. But I don't technically work on a Sunday because it's Sunday, okay? So her sister did reach out to me the following day from an out-of-state number. I answered it, and she explained to me that her sister was looking for a house, and she told me the situation. She said that her sister doesn't trust anybody, and that this is her first time buying a house. She's very skittish, and so on and so forth. And I was like, that's common. She's a first-time home buyer. And then she said that she already found a property that she was interested in, and they did a self-tour of that property. So we're talking Sunday. I didn't talk to them because it's Sunday. Monday, I'm reaching out to the sister. Tuesday morning. So my children have camp over the summer. This is July. My children have camp, and so I dropped my kids off at camp in Huntersville, and I drove straight up to the townhomes and things that she was interested in, and I toured them on her behalf. I got information on the pricing, what's included. I looked at the home through the eyes of a real estate agent, and then I went back and asked questions to the on-site agent on things that I saw. So things that I've seen or I saw on that property were, and I remember this, was that this particular townhome was one of the 3 model homes that was used to sell the other homes in the neighborhood. So this was like a sellout model home. So common questions that I would ask is, are you guys going to go in there and do like a blue tape and fix all the bumps and bruises that the house has had since you guys have been using it as a model? There is some minor wear and tear. So I was like, are you going to go in and, fix these things? Minor drywall tape, cracks, small cracks in the grout and things like that in the bathroom to make it perfect, right? They're buying technically a new house. What warranties are included with this property? How long is left on the warranties? Hey, did you guys ever register these appliances? Because the appliances have a warranty, but if you don't sign up within a certain amount of time, then the extended warranty is null and void. So those are questions that I asked the on-site agent, and then this is before I met them. I only talked to their sister and talked to the wife on the phone. So I was already working, okay? So went to the house, did all that, got the information, and I remember them asking me, what did I think about the property? And I said, in all honesty, it's not for me. And the reason, I'm going to put the pictures up here of the property. The reasoning is not because it's a model home, because most model homes are like fit to the T. It's because she has small children. 2 small children, and I was like, you are right on the road. It's a very busy road. It's Brawley School Road out in Morrisville. If a kid just runs out the front door off the front porch, I would say 20-25 yards, they're on a 4-lane highway or 4-lane road, right? So I was like, I don't really see it, and that's sort of kind of why it's more than likely sitting on the market. But hey, if you want to buy it, let's pursue it by any means. These are the things I want you to get. I want you to get information on the bumps and bruises and the warranties and things on the house, and these are things you need to be concerned about. One of the other concerns about the property is the fact that the husband works a job where his work vehicle has a lot of signage on the vehicle, and it's against the HOA. And there are, like, she pointed out to me, she being the buyer, quote unquote, she pointed out to me that when she was driving through, she noticed that a lot of people had work vehicles in their driveways. And I was like, yeah, they're getting away with it now. By all means, go buy it. This is a screenshot of the vehicle. This is our conversation on Wednesday at 11:24. I'm just clarifying with the on-site agent. I'm like, hey, this is a picture of his work vehicle. What can we do to make it work for them? So it won't fit in the garage. So he could get the white magnets to go over it, but it would be a problem. They can't hide the fact that it's a work vehicle. And then we were like, well, maybe he can park over there and then walk to the house, after work, and that option was not allowed because that area was actually sold to retail. So they were going to build retail there, and then will the car get towed? Just so on and so forth. Just making sure, reading through the HOA, getting the HOA information, getting it to her so she can review it with her sister, whatever she needs to do. She finally gets off of this property and she starts wanting to tour other properties. She mentioned that in her information, which was, I love showing property. Like, that's one of the perks of being a real estate agent. I love showing property to people who are very serious about buying a house as well. So the first house was a townhome, and the other homes were also townhomes, a few other townhomes that we were looking at. So there was one on Hambright Road. I pointed out to her that one is on Hambright Road in Huntersville, and it's pretty busy. There's a school there, so school hours is going to be busy, and a lot of people are using that as an easy access to 77 Expressway. How do I know? Because I use it every morning to drop my kids off. I schedule her properties. So text at 11:11 a.m. on the 24th. I toured Forest Lake on their behalf, and all that good stuff. The 25th, which is a Thursday. So Sunday, I didn't contact her on a Sunday. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I toured the house Wednesday. Thursday, I'm actually showing her property. I scheduled a showing at 4:26 for the following day. So we're already working. I showed her 114 Glencoe Avenue, or Glencoe Lane in Mooresville, and 146 North Cromwell. So these are the two properties I showed her. 114. It actually closed at price. It closed at price. It was on the market for 123 days. There were no seller concessions. It sold for cash for $388. So that's not a foreclosure. That's not a foreclosure. Okay, so we showed that property to her, or I showed that property to her. I also showed her Cromwell. The one house I don't have pulled up. Let me pull it up for you guys. Cromwell. 146 Cromwell. It sold for $3,000 less. It was not a foreclosure. Also sold for cash in 16 days. So that one is not a foreclosure. $375,372, $3,000 difference, and it sold for cash. Not a foreclosure. Not a foreclosure. Due to possible fair housing issues, love letters will not be presented to the sellers with any offer. I do believe she asked if we could write a letter, and I was like, I'm not doing that. Just like, not going to happen. She was not interested in seeing Neil Ranch. She texted me on the way there. Let's see. So she texted me or emailed me. Let me get my dates right. This is on the 26th. Oh, no, I'm sorry. At 7:44 a.m. on Thursday, July 25th, she said, instead of seeing the one on 146 North Cromwell Drive, we would prefer to see Neil Ranch. So that's why I didn't have Cromwell. So we did go see Neil Ranch, and this is what Neil Ranch looked like. It was $379,900. It ended up selling for $370,000, and there were no seller concessions. It was another cash investor buying this property, so an investor to an investor. And yeah, cash. They can close in 15 days, $9,900. She wasn't interested in that property. Another big thing was, when I show property, I really like to have all the decision makers there. And the first 2 times we were out looking at property, her husband wasn't there, her mother. So anything I showed her, I would have to come back out and show him as well. So he did eventually start coming. So that was really good. And so she just, I showed her Parkmont Drive as well. Parkmont Drive. I thought she was going to go with Parkmont Drive, to be honest. So Parkmont Drive was the one that was listed. It's actually withdrawn from the market for $372,900. She didn't want to see these. This was in Troutman. It was too far away. She didn't like that one. What else did she not like? We saw Parkmont, Neil Ranch. There's another Parkmont, Forest Lake Townhomes. Those are the ones that she. But anyway, so Parkmont, it actually was listed at 3 something, and it sold for $510,500. Like, it didn't sell lower than, it wasn't a foreclosure. It literally sold for a decent amount there. So I don't really, that was a deal. Like, she should have jumped on that one. Like, that was a deal. So this house right here, 195 Parkmont, listed for 372.9, end up selling for more. Yeah, that was an interesting statement from her. What happened? So if you notice here, I have some question marks. What happened? So what happened during the one quiet period that we had prior to going under contract? Let's see here. She texted me. So she emailed me. There was quietness. She found some properties on the 31st. Now we are here on August 2nd. Where was she at during this time period? She was down in South Carolina looking at property. So it says, my husband and I found properties we would like to view. This is in Fort Mill, South Carolina. Here is the text messages from all of that good stuff. And I said, I'm not licensed in North Carolina. I'm not ever going to get licensed in North Carolina, but I'm not licensed in North Carolina. I was like, if you are extending your search to South Carolina, you may want to hire another realtor. I am licensed in North Carolina and work the metro and mountain areas only. Okay. She thumbs up it, and I thought we were done. Like, I thought we were done. Then she reaches back out on August 4th. They drove there. They didn't like, I sent her some properties in Gastonia. D.R. Horton properties. I sent her those properties out there. She said she drove there. She did not like them. And I was like, cool, that's fine. And then she sent me some other properties that she would like to see. August 2nd, sent photos of the neighborhood. Yeah, so when they asked me, when this video is just so out of the norm for me, I don't even know like how to even discuss this stupidity sometimes. But it really is irking me, so I had to get it off my chest. August 2nd, I sent photos and all the information of the neighborhood. I'm going to stop going through here, and I'm just going to tell you like what happened, and then I'll stick the stuff up there. So August 2nd, I sent photos of the neighborhood that I was telling her about out in Gastonia. They drove out there. They didn't like it and all that good stuff. Now, and that's fine. I was like, what did you like about the property? Like, is there anything that sticks out as, you know, like a positive? And she was pretty much like, I like the floor plan and things like that. And I was like, cool. So D.R. Horton was building a neighborhood out in Calvin Creek, and I had my connect over there reach out to the people there in Calvin Creek and send me information. He said, August 2nd, absolutely, I've reached out to the area manager for Calvin Creek to see what we can do. I'll definitely let you know. I've also advised the loan officer. So this is the 7th. We skipped it. At 10 a.m. on Tuesday, August 6th, we actually toured the property. Like, and she liked it, I guess. I'm not sure. So we toured property that morning at 10. I sent an email later on that afternoon at 3:36, as you can see on the screen. I said, thank you for meeting me this morning. I spoke with the on-site agent, and I was telling them what they were offering, what the builder was offering when it comes to using the preferred lender and using your outside lender. I was saying that there were prepaids, that they're going to give you closing costs, a lower interest rate for September closings only. The houses we were looking at were like October and beyond houses, and those will receive just a $10,000 closing costs because of the interest rate lock situation. Like, you can't keep it locked for months and months and months on end. And this was 5 months of drama. So, you know, we can't do that. So I said lot 52 does not qualify for it. The countertops in the kitchen will be granite. Okay, I said they will be granite. The option sheet is attached. When we were there touring the property, I said nothing can be changed in this property. It is already selected for you. This is the price. These are the things. I gave her the option sheet, and I told her this, and I wrote it. And I said lot 42 will qualify for the $499, and it is cheaper. It's $375. And I sent the plot map. I sent the information for her to contact the lender, and I reached out and things like that. After I sent her everything, she sent me a really short email reply. I just wanted to let you know that my husband submitted this application with the link you provided. Thank you, ! Ashley. So I was like, okay, cool. So as you can see, when you reply back to an email, the email attachments from the previous email are right there. So you can see that I sent her all the exterior information, all the information that she needed to get things rolling and stuff, and they actually did it. So on the 8th, things really started picking up. I received an email from the on-site person basically saying that they got the loan application, they're reviewing it. I received a fresh or a fresh approval letter from their lender that they were already working with. And I also received a review-only version of the contract, because they sometimes send that out to the agent and to the buyers to review it before they send it out in e-sign format. They don't want you just signing it, and it gives me an opportunity to go over it and answer any questions that they may have. There was some back and forth via text between her and I. She sent me the updated approval letter from her lender. She said, this is what our lender sent us. The loan with DHI is still under review, so we don't know what their numbers look like. I always tell my clients to compare apples to apples, apples to oranges, and get the best deal. And I said, okay, that interest rate looks great. See if he can apply the $5,000 credit from the seller as an interest rate buy down. And then she did that, and she said they can have a 5.5% interest rate. Yay. I was like, cool. I was like, go with that rate, better long term. And so this was just going back and forth off of the email that I sent earlier, where I said, I gave her 3 options. I said, you can ask for more closing costs, prepaids, credits. I would suggest $5,000, which we were discussing via text. Since you were using a VA loan with 100% financing, I would ask DHI to provide estimate cash to close mortgage payments, showing how the $10,000 and the $15,000 credit can be used as interest rate buy downs. I don't want any of that money to go to waste. I want DHI to show their best hand. And then I said, if you stick with your current lender, you would technically lose the $10,000, but I could request that the builder offers that $5,000 to be used with any lender. So I need them to create an addendum for you, so you can use any lender you want, but they'll still give you money. I said, the builder is not offering a refrigerator, washer, or dryer. We can request that because it is a buyer's market. They were stuck on their price. The price was firm, but what can they get on the back end as seller concessions? I was looking out for them. I said they'll be basic, but they'll be a great start. You're a first-time home buyer. And I said, most people will move the starter fridge to the garage for overflow. That's exactly what we did. We moved our old refrigerator from our old house, and when we bought and bought this house, we moved it into the garage, and whenever we entertain, that's where all of my meal prep stuff goes. On paper, this is me disclosing the delay that I knew about at time of contract back in August. I was like, on paper, this home is slated to close October, November. The builder is having issues getting Duke Power to connect the house to the power. How would an early November closing affect you? Okay. So I was already looking out for her. I was already making sure she got a good deal. I was doing everything that a good real estate agent would do. And I sent her more text messages. And August 8th at 12:54, I said the builder accepted all of the terms we requested. So stainless steel refrigerator, $5,000 to be used with your lender in any way you see fit, and blinds throughout. Okay, so that is the 8th. And again, I disclosed everything. I got proof that I disclosed it. Okay. On the 9th, everything was good. The 9th was straight. I mean, it was a day. And then the 10th, she showed some confusion via text. She showed some confusion about the interior color scheme. So if you remember earlier in the week, I sent her an email with the attachments, but she sent to me at 5:30-ish on October 10th, hey, Ashley, I just realized that the contract doesn't specify the carpets will be gray or brown. So she didn't like it. So I sent her the screenshot of the color scheme, and I said these are the color selections: gray cabinets, cross-country carpet, white tile. This is not one of D.R. Horton's semi-custom neighborhoods. The lot's floor plans, interior and exterior are fixed. Like, I've already told her this. She's under contract now. She's already gave her a $5,000 deposit. She's under contract. And when we toured the house was it was pretty much like they were putting cabinets in. Like, it wasn't like you can change anything anyway. Every now and then we can like throw in a surprise, but the house was trying to be done, okay? Because think about it, this is mid-August, and on paper it was saying September, so they were trying to close it, but it was Duke Power holding up the flow. So 8/12, she finally signed the buyer agency agreements. I know it's late, but I sent it, so it's all good. But she finally sent it. This screenshot basically shows that there was communication between the builder and I. There was a typo in the header, so I know that annoyed her, because it sort of annoyed me too, but it was something on the computer generated side, so that's nothing that I could have fixed or whatever. The 13th, I went on vacation, but the 13th was also the day that the escrow agent, so the attorney, the builder, the lender, myself, all received our first group email together. On the 15th, they received their first email discussing the electrical delay. So that was while I was going on vacation. I took 2 vacations during this fiasco. So back on the 19th, I sent the first video tour, or I did my first walkthrough of the property. Now, as you can see, I'm going to put show a video on the screen of this video, and I can probably link the video down below just so you can get an idea of what my clients receive throughout the build process. But I sent them the link to the video. I also sent the pictures to them, and I discussed my concerns. So I sent a direct email to them, and then once we chatted about it, I sent that same email to them and the seller's agent, the representative for D.R. Horton. And I said, these are the pictures. And as you can see, like, my email to them was way more detailed versus the one that I sent to a builder, because builders are like very like quick. Like, they want to like get to the point already. So I sent the pictures and I said, this is what I saw there. And these are the concerns. The concern is that over time, these screws could begin to rise since they are not properly installed and cause unnecessary and uneven wear on the carpet, future squeaking, and ultimately stick out and cause injury to my client's foot. So this is an email that I sent on their behalf, looking out for them, because many like first-time home buyers building a house, they don't know what they're looking at, like what should be concerned or whatever. They don't know anything. And I was like, there's also a gap in the subfloor that is approximately 3/4 of an inch wide. I'm not sure of the proper repair, but the buyers would like the repair completed prior to the carpet installation. Did they tell me to do this? No, I did it because I'm a good agent, and I tore my listings and stuff like that. So I sent that email, and then the follow-up began. So August 10th, he says, thanks for sending this over. I spoke with James. James is the construction manager. He is going to look at it and have it addressed with the builder. He's returning to office Wednesday and will circle back. So my organized bootay, I followed up. I didn't hear back. Okay. August 20th, I sent an email to them, which is the day after the video. They sent me a question, and I said, absolutely, since the drywall is already up, I would suggest waiting. That's my husband. So I sent an email basically saying that since the drywall is already up, I would suggest waiting. They were asking if now is a good time to schedule the third-party inspection. Like, I always have my clients get a third-party inspection, and there was a time where I paid for them, and I don't pay for them anymore for new construction because of this type situation. They back out, then I'm out $500. Like, that's not cool with me. So typically I would suggest a pre-wall inspection, but it's too late because the house is already, like, drywall is already up. And there's another email on the 20th. So even though I'm not talking to her every single day or talking to him or her every single day, I am talking to the lender, the builder, the attorney if they need me. Like, there's other things. And I also, like, They're not my only client. August 21st, I received an email from Chris. Chris is their lender, their outside lender. Just wanted to touch base as I sent Aaron a short list of items we will need up to closing, which is the typical bank statements and things like that. He'll keep me posted as he knocks these things out. My job as a real estate agent is to stay out of the lender's way. I need to know, can they afford the house? But beyond that, I don't count people's pockets. If someone is like bragging that they have like all this money saved, you're supposed to have money saved when you're buying a house. And I don't know how you got that house. That money. I've had people in the past who had a parent or another family member pass away and left them money. Should I treat you differently because you have money to put down a house? I have people that are selling their first home and they have thousands, like hundreds of thousands of dollars from selling their first house. Am I going to treat them differently than someone who's using down payment assistance? No. Like, you need to do what's best for you when it comes to your loan. You don't have to use all that money. You can use some of it. Like, it's very odd. But I got to take a quick break from this video and go pick my husband up. I'll be back. Okay, I am back. I have done a lot. I actually recorded this video and there was no audio. So now my audio is working. I have new footage from some neighborhoods, so I'm ready to go. Okay, so where was I? August 20th, August 21st of last year, I did have communication with the buyer. We were discussing when is a good time to schedule this third-party inspection. And I emailed her on the 20th. I said, since the drywall is already up, I would suggest waiting until all utilities are turned on. That pesky transformer situation. Typically, I would suggest a pre-drywall inspection prior to, so we can see like the bones of the house. But since it's already zipped up, let's just wait and do one inspection. So that was the 20th. I had communication with her. And then on the 20th, I also had communication with the builder. And then on the 21st, the lender reached out to me and basically said he has everything that he needs and he has communicated what he needs to the buyers. So if anything pops up, any builder issues, let him know and give him 30-day notice so he has time to do everything that's needed on his end, which was lovely. I mean, if you don't hear from the lender, it's good news. It's usually bad news because the buyer cannot afford the house or something happened to their loan or some type of hiccup. So no news is good news. I'm not going to tell a lender how to do their job, but overall his communication was amazing. So don't know what she's talking about. And then on the 23rd, the builder sent their automated email to everyone. We got an update email, which was basically like, the house is pretty much done. We're just waiting on Duke Power to be connected and things like this. However, Aaron, the husband, decided to go to the house or have his coworker, friend, buddy person go to the house under contract and scope the plumbing. Stick something down the plumbing of something that they do not own yet under contract. I didn't know about it. The builder didn't know about it. No one knew about it. And they scoped the plumbing lines before telling anyone or without telling anyone. And so I was like, what if they messed something up? Like, how would I fix that? Luckily he didn't, but he did complain that he couldn't scope it properly because the plumbing was plugged. But yes, because it's in the middle of construction, they didn't raise their hand, they being the builder, and say, hey, it is time to scope. It is time to check this. It's time to do your inspections. This is part of the inspections that we were talking about just a few days prior. So he did that. I had to smooth that over with the builder in case there was an issue, in case the plumbing test and things came back bad. It's like, oh, by the way, the buyer may have done that. Like, it's just too much. The 26th of August was the first day of school, and it was the first day of the most hectic time of my parenting because sports started, school started, we were still doing Kumon and stuff. So that was my first taste of being a minivan mom, like for reals. But besides that, I received a text message from the big sister, and she was basically telling me that they wanted third party inspection. All this has already been discussed with the buyer, not with the sister. And she was also telling me how her sister just has not wrapped her mind around being under contract. Even though this is August 26th and we started this process back in July. Lord knows if I didn't show her all those properties back in July, she would have been complaining, right? But she was like, the process was moving really fast and she's really skittish and things like that. But she was nice about everything in her text message. And then I also followed up with the construction manager regarding the video that I sent and the pictures that I sent from the previous week. Obviously, I'm organized if I remembered to follow up and get answers. Obviously, right? That was August 26th. He says, yeah, I looked at it and so did my framers and flooring company. There is not structural issues and nothing causing issues to move forward with the carpet install. So they installed the carpet. Again, when we went under contract just a mere maybe month before this, the house was basically done. And even in my notes, I have at this point the home was complete minus cosmetic touch-ups, waiting on the known delay discussed on August 8th at 8:43 a.m. So we already knew that this September slated house was not going to be done until October, November of last year. And here we are in August. So we're still technically within the realm of reason, you would think. But after this point, the house is pretty much done. So there's not a lot of point for me to keep on going to the house like a whole bunch. Usually I check on a house like every 7 to 10 days. But after the house is done, it's like we're waiting on transformers. We know the known issue, right? So the builders sent an update on August 27th. The builders sent another update on August 30th, as well as September 6th, 13th, 20th, and 27th. So September was covered, even though I did send them a video tour on September 3rd. I sent a video walkthrough. You guys can see it on the screen now. I sent that at 3:10, and then I received this beautiful passive aggressive message from the buyer. I don't do passive aggressive. So she says, thanks for sending an update. It is unfortunate we were not able to add any upgrades considering we are putting 20% down. The kitchen is not our style in terms of the placement of the stove, microwave, colors of the cabinets, countertops. The kitchen would have looked much better with quartz countertop and black knobs for the cabinet handles. We will have to probably paint the cabinets white to go better with the granite. They also put wood floors in the bathrooms and laundry instead of tile, which can cause problems later on with water damage. She goes on to say, we will also have to add an iron fence, which can cost around $20,000. Similar houses in the complex are being sold for $10,000 cheaper than ours. The house is not worth $380 in our opinion, but overall, everything else looks great. Not good, not okay. It looks great. Everything else looks great. I don't know who told her this house is not worth $380. 2-car garage, 3.5 bath, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home. Granted, it's not wood, it's laminate vinyl plank. So it's very common to have that in the bathrooms. Tile would have been more expensive. It's not like her yard is an acre or anything, but an iron fence will not cost her $20,000. And if it does, the builder is not adding a fence. I've sold a lot of D.R. Horton. You just go down the list of the builders in the area. They're not giving out fences. $1 million neighborhoods are not giving out fences. It's not part of their thing that they're doing. But obviously in September 3rd to be exact, she had in her mind that she didn't really want this house. She didn't really like this house. This house was not her shebang. So why did she stay under contract? Why didn't she just back out? If she didn't like all these things that she saw with her own eyes, she saw the cabinets with her own eyes. August 10th, when I sent her the interior color scheme, when I sent her all of the information on the interior of the house, like all the pictures and things like that were included in the contract in July, why did she sign? Why did she sign why did she do this to herself? Why did she do this? So far, it's a you problem, not a me problem. So now we are at we're at September 15th. And I emailed Tim. I said, do you have any updates regarding the electricity connection with the property? The lender needs to know when to order this appraisal. And then he said, hey, check in with the team out there. We'll let you know. And he did let me know. So the appraisal was ordered that week. The appraisal came back and the appraisal was fine. The appraisal was like really good. I sent her a message the following week. Now remember, she did receive something on the 20th from the builder. I sent her a message on the 23rd. We were obviously talking somewhere else because my reply was, okay, perfect. As soon as I get temporary power notice, I will schedule the third-party inspection. Do you and Aaron both want to attend? If so, the inspections are typically scheduled for either 9 a.m. or 1 p.m. The inspector that I use has those 2 time slots. He does one in the morning before lunch and one after lunch and ends his day so we can all get our reports within 24 hours. And then she says nicely, we can both attend and do 9 a.m. on Tuesday. This home inspection is something that I would have attended with them. So I attend all the meetings, I attend all the inspections, so I would have been there as well at 9 a.m. on that Tuesday. I think I actually have the email. Yes, September 23rd at 1, I sent out this long email talking about the completion. Even though it says your home is basically 90% complete, we're waiting on the transformer. So it says 78 in the system, but physically the house is much further along. And I say my goal is to get your home inspection scheduled as soon as your home has temporary power. Do you have an inspector in mind? Because remember, last month in August, he had his friend scoping the plumbing out there. So do you have someone? No, they didn't. And I said, we're tracking towards October 18th. Now look at this date, September 23rd. What happened later that week? Hurricane Helene happened later that week. It hit North Carolina, hit the mountains where I'm from. It hit that area on that Friday, which was September 27th. So we're having this conversation not knowing how bad this storm is going to be. And then to go with her last question, just to reiterate, she's already received her appraisal. That was at value. And then I said also, I checked on the current cost of Pinwells, which was the floor plan she was building. And D.R. Horton is selling the Pinwell plan 10 minutes away in a different neighborhood for $442. And Pinwells in your community have not been discounted. However, this one has been discounted because the feedback was that there was a bad slope in the back. And so they discounted it to $369. Okay, now I believe that is the same Pinwell that was available in July that would have closed too soon. So it was that we can't move too soon because we have this lease, but we can't move too fast, well, too late because we have this lease. So I always had to find that sweet spot. So their lease ends in December. Just remember that. Okay. On the 23rd, this was just a little bit of the communication. There was also communication with the lender. Just a heads up that the appraisal has been received at value, just pending notice from the builder to get the appraiser back out there for final walkthrough. So one inspection was done. Once the house is complete, the appraisal inspector person will go out there and make sure that everything is done and everything that they said they were going to do to the house is actually done. Stuff like that. That is actually move-in ready. So this is September 23rd. We're just moving along, and then hurricane hits. And as you can see, it hit North Carolina, my hometown, like where I'm from, devastation. It wasn't good for anybody. They did receive an automated email from the builder that Friday the 27th. It's automated, so it's not like a deep email. They also received one on the 4th. And I went on vacation. We went on a long weekend. And then when we came back on the 7th, Chris, the lender, said, do we know if we're still tracking for the 18th? And obviously we're not because of this storm. And so I replied back. I think we had like an actual conversation then. And it says, yeah, I'll keep preparing as needed and we will just be ready whenever the builder is ready. So I did reply back to Chris to this email because it's October 8th. I have a tendency of replying back to a previous email so someone can't say, oh, I didn't get that email. I'm like, there it is. But anyway, October 16th, we had another conversation that I'm going to get into about the rate lock, which was a big deal that happened. So that was the email. So we updated the lender. And then the builder sent another update on the 11th. And the builder emails are pretty automated. The construction manager can add in extra details, but pretty much it's like pretty automated, in the system. And it'll send out little like informational sheets about where they're at and like what to look for and what to expect. And by the way, don't go up in the house without a hard hat, without letting people know, stuff like that. So on the 16th, that's when I started being curious about their rate lock, because the storm, the transformers, everything I've been seeing is that there's going to be a further delay. So I reached out to Chris and I was like, I hope you're doing well. I want to make sure that I'm staying ahead of the ball as much as possible. Did they lock in their interest rate? If so, when does it expire? Let me know if I need to request additional closing costs from the builder as we wait for the electrical task to be complete. The effects of the storm on the schedule is definitely an issue, but I don't want that to affect them financially. So they didn't ask me to protect their investment. They didn't ask me to make sure that their interest rate remained low and that they were protected. They didn't ask me to do that as a really good real estate agent, for one, but as someone with experience and who dealt with COVID and like all the interest rates going up and down, I've seen how a 1 point or half a point can affect someone's affordability. So I try to protect that at all costs, which you can see here on October 16th. So I started that conversation up with the builder. There was a lot of conversation with the builders about the storm and things. Basically, all of Duke Power's attention and priority, our favorite word, all of their priorities went to the mountains to make sure that they had power. Like, it is January 2025, and A, I'm talking about this file. B, she sent this Zillow thing at like 3 o'clock in the morning on a snow day. And C, like, they still don't have power in a lot of places. They still are jacked up in a lot of places in the mountains. But anywho, there's another storm coming that they were also tracking. On the 16th, I also asked him what would be the cost to extend the rate until November 22nd, that being worst case scenario. In my mind, it ended up being the end of the month, but still in November. I said, that's not a date from the builder, but the delay of materials is something that caused a lot of issues back at the start of COVID, experience, organization. I would like to request the amount one time and not have to ask again later. I am currently seeing around 5.9% for VA. Is their rate locked lower than that? Also, does the home require a re-inspection for storm damage? So a lot of things is being said here. The first thing is that the delay of materials is something that builders after COVID, they started really saying, well, we can't control that. So, you're going under contract knowing that it can take 6 to 8 months or 6 to 9 months to build, and we're trying our best, and they are. So that's one thing from experience. I was like, well, I still have to protect my client. The other thing is that I was seeing 5.9% interest rate for VA. Somewhere along this train, they switched. I was always wondering, like, why did they decide to put 20% down? Like, why was that a thing when VA is 100%? But it really is none of my business about how much money they have and what they're doing. My only concern is, can they afford the house? Are they approved? And what their closing cost is and things like that, and making sure that they're comparing apples to oranges and stuff where needed. That was odd to me. And then the reinspection for storm damage. Every now and then we'll have like a really big storm. I know we had flooding at one point, and a lot of those homes had to be reinspected after the flooding and after the storm to make sure that other things didn't need to be done for the home to be, occupied, and that it was still worth that amount of money for the appraisal. So he said that he had him locked for a conventional loan now at 5.375%, and that it would basically cost $1,600 roughly for the next 30 days, which would get us through November. And to confirm, we will need a re-inspection, but it can all be done in one fell swoop. So no re-inspection after that in regards to Hurricane Helene. So that was conversations that was happening between me and my lender on the buyer's behalf. And then with that information, I had to then go to the builder and request that money pretty much, right? And that is something that I did. I did it verbally with the builders, like the site, the sales manager, seller's agent. I did it with him, and then I was like, there had to be a point where I put it in writing. So on the 25th, no, later that Friday. So I showed an email from the builder on the 24th at 5:56, and then I communicated with the lender on the 25th again. This is about the third-party inspection. So I was asking, when can we get this third-party inspection done? October 25th. This is to the builder, the on-site people, and Aaron, I believe, is on this email. And the builder says, once we start our third-party inspections, you can schedule yours. We will probably schedule ours around November 4th. So with that information, I have to go to the inspector to check his availability and all of that good stuff. And I did update the lender and let him know, like, hey, now's the time for you to get your inspector out there. And this is my email on the 25th to the builder to make sure that I'm securing that $1,600 with the reason why, how much we're asking, let me know, running up the ladder. So that was a good thing. Like, can you please ask if D.R. Horton would be willing to pay $1,600 as credit at closing for the rate lock extension required to keep their rate at 5.375 because that rate expires on October 31st. And then he was running it up the ladder. He'll get back to me ASAP. And because I am organized and because this is a Friday, I did have to follow back up with him. It was approved on the following Monday. Well, actually the following Tuesday. So there's a lot of communication. It was me to the lender to the builder, me to the lender to say, hey, I requested it. Him saying, okay, let me know. And then on the 28th, I had to say any updates from up the ladder. And then he said, haven't gotten back yet. He may have to get executive approval. And then on the 29th, that approval did actually come in. So now we're at October 29th. Again, communication. All this is communication. You see how that works? So it was approved at 3:30 on October 29th, and he was sending the addendum shortly. They're adding the $1,600. And then on the 30th, I didn't get a copy of the addendum, and Tim said, hey, Ashley, it's attached. Realtors don't get it, but I needed it because when I'm getting the closing documents, I need to make sure that the things that I requested from the builder is actually on the closing documents as credits. So they have the $5,000 and they have this $1,600. I need to see either two line items or one totaling the $6,600 from the seller to the buyer at closing. Okay. And then we are going into it being confirmed. This is October 30th at 11:30. Chris, myself, and the husband were all on there. I said, Chris, you asked me earlier today, Chris being the lender, if there is a closing date in the system, and currently we are looking at a November 20th orientation. What that means is that on November 20th, which is a Wednesday, a week from that day, which would be November 27th, the home would be closing. So I was just giving him a heads up so he can get things rolling. Again, October 30th, guys. I said, Aaron and Ashley, which day works best for you for the inspection? November 8th, which is a Friday, November 12th, which is a Tuesday, or November 13th, which is a Wednesday. Now, a lot of things can happen here. Because it is October 30th, he may get off work early on a Friday. He may not have to work on a Wednesday, right? But I had to give him options. I can't say, hey, be there. This is what time you're doing. I have to ask so I can schedule it. So I sent that at 11:03. And then at 11:23, I received another one of her passive-aggressive emails that just got worse. 15 minutes later, I guess maybe she forgot that she sent a message to me already. My husband's only day off is on Tuesday. Anything they schedule must be on that date regarding closing or inspections. We have been patient without much communication. Okay. If closing ends up being too close to when our lease ends or after, that will be an issue because then we will be out of a place to live. I am not sure if the builder is aware that we have a lease ending in December, but that is good information for them to know, to at least consider our situation when scheduling, like we have been doing for them. November 12th inspection is fine. So all that to say, go ahead and schedule November 12th for the inspection. All that. She could have just said that. Obviously the house is about to close. You're going to be in your house by December. I understand. This is what I was dealing with when she says that she didn't think I liked her very much. And let me just tell you, it's not in our contract to like people. Imagine if I've had over 250 clients, there had to be a few that I didn't like. And there's ones that like, I cannot wait for them to call me. I'm like, hey, we catch up about kids. We catch up about family. Then there's others. I'm like, please, I would rather refer you out. I cannot. I'm not going to ever cross that line again with you. Like, I'd rather not. I like my peace. All of my gray hairs are from joyful moments, not stress. Anyway, she emailed me again at 11:37. She said, my husband is only available on Tuesdays for closings, meetings, or inspections. Our lease ends in December. If closing gets too close to our lease end date or after our lease ends, we will not be able to continue with this purchase. This woman already let us know back in September that she didn't really want this house. She let us know. Remember, she was like, we don't like the cabinets. We don't like this. We don't like that. We got to pay for a fence. We're special. We're putting so much money down. You should change your whole way of building for us because we got money and all this stuff like that. And we got to buy a fence. I mean, she let us know in September that she did not want this house. So here we are having this conversation October 30th. And so I'm like, okay, I schedule it for the 12th. I was like, okay, whatever. So as you can see, that day is when D.R. Horton says, hey, we have an official closing date. So they started sending emails to the lenders saying, start preparing the escrow process, start preparing. And so that email was sent from D.R. Horton. It was received by Chris promptly. He responds back, received, big thanks. There's nothing for me to reply back. I'm not one of those people to reply back, okay, every time. Like, you sent it to me. I'm an adult. I get my emails. I'm good, right? So then November 1st is when things really start kicking into high gear because the builder has responded the day previously to the lender. And now the attorney is getting involved. They're saying that start sending us stuff. Attached are the buyer info sheets and the addendum and all this stuff like that. This is our closing office. Everyone is included in this email. And then that same day, November 1st, a letter comes from the builder, the closing letter. Congratulations, your closing is scheduled for November 27th at 11 a.m. This email was sent November 1st at 12:09 p.m. Please remember that day and time. Friday, November 1st at 12:09. So all these emails are coming through. And then we receive an email from Miss Ashley. Okay. Ashley says, good afternoon. When we first signed our contract, we were told by our lender we would need to put down 20%, which was around $70,000. As of now, that amount has increased closer to $100,000, which is not in our budget and doesn't align with our financial goals as first-time home buyers. We are no longer interested in buying this home, but do thank you all for your time. What will we need to do to get our earnest money back? So she included me, the lender, her husband, and the builder on this email. And there's some things you need to take away from this. First of all, the time is 1:33. It hasn't even been half an hour. So she already knew she did not want this house. Again, she's known since September that she did not want this house. So we are at 1:33. She sends this, and I thought she was going VA. So now she's doing conventional. She's putting down 20%. I did not incur her any additional costs, me personally. I got her $5,000 in closing costs. I got her $1,600 to maintain that interest rate, which was nice. I got that. Not nice on my behalf. It was a good was a good interest rate. I locked her in at a better interest rate. And it's not December yet. The closing document said November 27th. So, I mean, in my calendar, November and December are different. And then she says, what do we need to do to get our money back? The problem with this is that if I did have any type of negotiation power, it was all taken when she included the builder, because it wasn't, we don't qualify for it, our loan was denied, we no longer have the money. It was, we don't want to spend the money. Because remember, she was bragging about all the money she had in her little Zillow thing. You know, I was treating her bad because of, you have this money you have. You know how I know you had this money? A, because you said we no longer want the property, but B, because I'm just going to skip down to Chris's email that said, I sent him a withdrawal letter. This is November 22nd. I sent them a withdrawal letter, but am not legally allowed to send a denial when the borrower is not denied. They had the money. They could buy the house. I saved their interest rate. I got them more closing costs. They had a great home. They could be in their home. They did not want the house. They need to be honest with themselves and stop leaving crappy BS Zillow reviews when they were the problem. They were the problem. But I'm going to go back up to 11:02, and the builder responded the very next morning, because at this time I'm talking to the lender, I'm talking to the builder rep, and I'm like, maybe she got cold feet, maybe she just had a moment, maybe she didn't read the email, she thought it was December 27th, like, I don't know. Let's give her a moment to think about it before y'all start doing your thing on your end. However, the other builder rep said, to have your earnest money refunded, we would need your lender to provide a non-qualification letter, a loan denial. You could also reapply with DHI Mortgage. Now remember, they're using an outside lender. If they would have used DHI, they were willing to sweeten the deal even more to 3.99% on a 30-year fixed VA loan. VA loans are 100%. And they would also get up to $10,000. And I would work with them to make sure that the builder used every bit of that $10,000 for closing costs. The promotion is being provided with the use of DHI. Apply with DHI. And then she says, thanks for your timely response. But did she apply with DHI? No. You know why? She didn't want the house, and she wanted someone to blame. And she did not want to go into the bathroom or her bedroom and look in the mirror. She did not want that house. She didn't want it. It just came down to that. So all that stuff, that it really frustrates me, and rarely ever do you see anyone respond to negative Zillow reviews. I am not one to chase Zillow reviews. However, her purpose for sending that review was to tarnish my reputation, to hurt my business. You're not gonna lie about me. You're just not. You're not. You're passive aggressive. And this goes into say, like, when people say, well, Ashley, what builders are the best builders? Or I read these reviews about this builder and the builder was terrible, and so I don't want to buy a house with them. People read reviews. They make financial decisions. And you are trying to come at me. You obviously had all this money. And there's lots of, again, people can say things. I'm not disorganized, for one. The other thing people can say is, my husband spoils the absolute bejesus out of me. I'm good. I am not chasing not one commission check. If somebody stresses me out, I don't work with them. I have fired many clients. I actually fired one this week. If I don't want to work with somebody, I won't work with them. I do understand when you're buying a house that it's stressful. I mean, building our house was stressful. So I get it. I've been in those, I've done it. You're like, I get it. But when you go to the point where you want to lie about a whole situation months later, it's sort of ridiculous. And I'm just not in that. I'm not in that place to play with people. Like, you did this to yourself, and that is exactly why you didn't get your money back. You didn't get your money back because you could afford the house. You just no longer wanted the house. On paper, the lender said you could still afford the house. It had nothing to do with me. If anything, again, I was making sure that you got the best interest rate, that you got the most money, that all this stuff. And I mean, it's a lot of lies. It's a lot of lies, and I just don't appreciate it. I just feel like people should be very mindful of what they say about other people, because sometimes those people are going to come back and like speak up for themselves, and I'm not the one. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. That was very childish. You should have been like Drake and just took that L. Like, don't do that. Don't do that to people. But yeah, the passive aggressiveness and the quote unquote lack of communication when there was nothing to communicate. We're not friends, and nothing in the contract says I got to be your friend and I'm going to haha and kiki with you. When there's no update, there's no update. When there's something I need to do, I do it. Now, imagine watching my videos in the past when I had 15 to 20 files at one time, and it was this much communication over a build process times 15 to 20 clients. They all got the same amount of attention. What makes her special, she says, is the amount of money she put it down, or she had, that I was counting her pockets. I don't count anybody's pockets but my own. So yeah, I really honestly hope that she found a house. I hope that their living situation is amazing. I really do. I hope they have a blessed future. They have a beautiful family, but I hope they also like just forget about me, because I forgot about you. Okay. But anyway, guys, this is not my typical content. Hopefully this is not your first and last video of me. I do post really good stuff, really positive things and things like that. But yeah, I got a 1-star review and I had to speak about it. Okay. But like, share, subscribe, visit my channel to look for houses in the areas that I serve, which is Mecklenburg, Cabarrus, Gaston, Union, and Iredell counties. Those are the areas I serve. I don't serve South Carolina, which I told her back in July. But anyway, have a blessed day, and I will talk to you again in another video. Bye.
She's got the deals. Ashley the realtor, she knows the real appeal. By herself, she's got your back. And Charlotte, she's the best.